Good day, fellow adventurer, and welcome. My name is Matt, and today I will be doing my 9th Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster class overview. In this episode, we are now entering Player Core 2, and I will be starting with the Monk. I'm going to try to keep these videos to about 10 to 12 minutes in length, so please bear with me if I don't cover everything on all the slides. The Monk didn't have very much changed going into the Remaster, which is why I'm starting here. Their most notable difference, outside of the new feats they received, like Godbreaker, is receiving the critical specialization effect on unarmed attacks in the Brawling group when they gain expert proficiency. The other notable change is with monastic weaponry. It condensed Brawling focus and ancestral weaponry into one feat, which was fantastic for monks not looking to actually use unarmed attacks. Speaking of which, the follow-up feat, Advanced Monastic Weaponry, finally allows monks to use advanced monk weapons. I'm not really sure how that one happened before the remaster, but I'm very happy to see that change go through. Finally, the Monk's key spells are now grouped together like the Ranger and the Warden spells, though it should be noted that there currently is no clause to allow you to take these feats more than once. If you do, you should definitely talk to your GM to ignore this, as I'm almost definitely sure that this was an oversight. The Monk's primary role is a striker. Given that they can make 2 attacks for 1 action, they clearly will lean into this role. With many of their feats involving attack actions like Grapple, Disarm, and Trip, it's almost a no-brainer that they should fall into this role. In terms of secondary roles, the Monk can also act as a great defender thanks to their excellent unarmed AC and saving throws. They can also somewhat control enemies by grappling and tripping them, and combining these tactics with feats like Stand Still. The Monk can also act as a support through archetype support, though this should only be done if your party doesn't have a primary or secondary support. Finally, the Monk should stray away from the role of Face and Librarian, as they simply do not have enough skill points to allocate to them. Scout is also a poor choice, despite probably having a decent Wisdom modifier. Only having Expert Perception and waiting to level 5 to get that is going to be a detriment in the long term. The Monk begins play with Flurry of Blows, a powerful flourish ability that allows them to make 2 unarmed strikes for 1 action. Their Powerful Strikes ability also increases their fist damage die to a d6, and allows them to make lethal strikes at no cost. Later levels serve to improve the Monk's movement and unarmed attacks. At the 3rd level, they gain incredible movement, granting them a 10-foot status bonus to their speed, which further increases at every 4 levels thereafter. Mystic Strikes count their unarmed attacks as magical, while Metal treats them as both Cold Iron and Silver. Adamantine Strikes make them, you guessed it, count as Adamantine, and Perfected Form allows you to treat your first strike's attack roll on any turn as if it was a 10 if you had rolled lower than that. The Monk's advancement is pretty impressive. Their Perception proficiency increases to Expert at 5th, which is good, as being a martial with a low perception score is pretty unfortunate. Their saving throws work in a unique manner. You increase 1 to Master at 7th level, and a different 1 to Master at 11th level. You can become Legendary in one of these, your choice, at 15th level. Their unarmed attack proficiency progresses exactly like the other martials and weapons, Expert at 5 and Master at 13, with the specializations following by 2 levels behind in each case. Their armor growths are spectacular, improving to Expert at 7th, Master at 13th, and going all the way up to Legendary at 17th. Finally, their class DC increases to Expert at 9th and Master at 17th, and this also applies to their key spells in case they pick up any that require a save. The Monk's plethora of class feats really lends itself to have a unique experience every time. They are offered powerful stance feats at 1st level, which chain into stronger feats later. I personally recommend Dragon and Wolf stance as offensive options, while Crane and Mountain stance are great for more defensive-oriented monks. If none of these entice you, Monastic Weaponry got a huge buff, and there are a few good options here as well. The Bow Staff is a classic, but the Sanset Sukon makes for a great option as well if you don't think you'd want a reach weapon. Stunning Blows used to be a snap pick for monks back in the day, but because they all get their weapon specialization on their unarmed strikes now, it's not nearly as required as it once was. This is because the critical specialization effect can cause the slowed effect, which wouldn't stack with stunned. Key spells are also feats that should not be overlooked, as many of them further compress the monk's already excellent action economy, or give the monk abilities they wouldn't have access to otherwise. Key Rush allows you to easily get yourself into position, gaining concealment along the way, while Harmonized Self gives you a reliable source of self-healing. The Wrestler archetype is a top-tier choice for the monk, as it leans in heavily towards grappling and unarmed attacks. Suplex and Whirling Throw are both thematic and effective options for the monk. Bullet Dancer, which seems a bit weird from an aesthetic point of view, gives the monk additional options with firearms, though it will be taking up your stance. Since monks have a lot of freedom with their action economy, the Beastmaster archetype makes an excellent choice as well. Getting a flanking partner is fantastic, and an extra body on the battlefield can make it difficult for enemies to deal with. The Cleric archetype also makes for an interesting idea. You can use it to take spells, but if you're going for the defender route, it is possible to take the basic Dogma feat at 4th or 6th level for Emblazoned Armaments, followed by the Advanced Dogma at 8th for Raised Symbol. This allows you to raise a shield and gain a +2 circumstance bonus to all saves at the same time. Bastion, I know, also makes for an interesting choice as a monk. Getting shield-based feats are great, like Reflexive Shield and Shielded Stride, and down the line, Quick Shield Block can make you a real pain to bring down in a fight. The monk will almost always have a free hand available to them, so Medic can make for a practical choice as the party is low on healing. Their high movement speed will also help in rescuing teammates in a pinch. Finally, I do want to note that the Martial Artist dedication is not worth taking as a monk. Almost all of the abilities here are superfluous and can be found on the monk feat list in the first place. Exploration and downtime are going to be pain points for the monk, as their skills are quite scant in comparison to many other classes. Search is probably going to be your best option in exploration mode, though you won't even get expert in perception until level 5. Downtime will probably result in you earning income with your lore skill if it is relevant. Combat is where we really see the monk's abilities shine. With their incredible movement options and access to Flurry of Blows, the monk can target any creature on the battlefield and make quick work out of them. Their biggest problem turns out to be having a good third action to make every round. Because they can easily reach their enemies with one stride, and then just strike twice for one action thanks to Flurry of Blows, they are often left with a third action just sitting there. There are a few ways to remedy this first world problem. Using Assurance with Athletics to trip, grapple, or disarm might be a handy way to get a free maneuver on a lower level foe. If you took the Beastmaster archetype, Command an Animal is a fantastic option to get even more damage in, or find a flanking buddy with a speed that can match yours. Finally, even though it pains me to say it, raising a shield is a fantastic option to improve your already stellar defense. Tiger Stance, though not previously noted on the feat slide, is a decent option if you care about mobility. Using the stance, you can easily step into flanking with another one of your melee teammates in order to catch your opponents off guard. Increasing your critical hit chance doing this can also lead you getting bonus bleed damage off of your critical hits while in the stance. The Dragon Blood Heritage, courtesy of Player Core 2, is absolutely fantastic on any monk, this build being no exception. Getting the extra AC early to properly invest in strength without sacrificing any defenses except for your already great reflex save is choice, and Dragon Stance further increases this build's damage output. Intimidation training here is a must-have, as getting Dragon Roar up and running by level 6 will be important for this build's long-term success. The Sword and Board Monk build I lovingly refer to as the Naked Fighter makes great use of monastic weaponry alongside a shield. Though I previously had only mentioned the Bow Staff and Sanset Sukan earlier, the Temple Sword will be the weapon of choice for this build, getting its critical specialization to make opponents off guard. This combos nicely with Stunning Blows at 2nd level, as the two effects will not overlap. For skills, crafting is an important skill to be trained in here, as the monk will probably want to repair their shield post-combat. If you are playing with free archetype, I highly recommend the Bastion archetype first, in order to get reactive shield and eventually quick shield block, and then the Cleric archetype at 6th level once you qualify for it, in order to pick up Raise Symbol. Key spells are in a bit of a weird spot here, as there are currently no option to take the group defeats more than once, though I'd imagine an errata will be included to amend this. Inner Upheaval is preferred over Key Rush in order to get more damage behind your attacks, and this build will want to continue increasing their focus pool at later levels by taking Harmonized Self at 4th level and Advanced Key Spells at 6th. The monk had a few quality of life changes moving into the remaster, but its identity remains unchanged. They can fit into many parties thanks to their lack of reliance on teamwork, and have excellent class features to differentiate one monk from another. All of this being said, I'm actually going to give the monk a rating of A-, maybe to quite some surprise. I used to tout the monk very highly in regards to his performance, but all of the benefits that seem excellent on paper don't particularly translate well into actual play. These bonuses, such as their massive increases to speed, aren't always useful. Even if we disregard how Paizo loves to throw players into small rooms when it comes to fights, in larger areas the monk will often have to wait for the rest of their team to catch up in order for them to be buffed and supported properly. Additionally, the monk's Flurry of Blows is great, but will often need to archetype out to find a good use for their third action. Their base stats are fantastic in the defense area, certainly, but I sometimes feel myself somewhat underwhelmed when actually playing one. Perhaps this rating will change if I get another chance to play as a monk, but I have no burning desire to do so at the time of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for additional content. I plan on releasing one video of this type fortnightly until I have covered every class in PC2, so do stay tuned. I currently do not have plans on doing these videos in any sort of order, but will make sure every class is covered. You can check out the slides in the description below, and of course, have a great day.